The January 6th hearings have been going on in Washington, D.C. for the past few days, and there have been some pretty powerful testimonies from D.C. police officers like Michael Fanone and others who were essentially beaten by a mob that descended on the Capitol, the right-wing mob. But one person decided that he was going to make sure that he was not going to get victimized. And that person is Representative Mo Brooks, who for some reason, unbeknownst to us and his colleagues, was wearing a body armor. I mean, this is really crazy. So this is according to a report from Slate. Republican Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama said that he had wore body armor to Trump's January 6th rally in Washington, D.C., but only after being tipped off about risks in the days leading up to the event. Oh, interesting. He told Slate Politics writer Jim Newell, quote, "I was warned on Monday, January 4th, that there might be risks associated with the next few days. And as a consequence of those warnings, I did not go back to my condo. Instead, I slept on the floor of my office, and when I gave the speech of the Ellipse, I was wearing body armor. That's why I was wearing that nice little windbreaker to cover up the body armor." So I have questions. I think these are important questions. Number one, if it was such a safe rally, why would you feel compelled to need body armor? That's such a weird thing. That's like a weirdly specific thing. Like, no, I need to go put on my suit of body armor because I'm going to go to a rally in support of Donald Trump. Now, I guess it turned out that he didn't quite need the body armor, but he was right that there were certain risks. You know, many of the attendees of the rally at the Ellipse went on to storm the Capitol later on, and so again, that leaves you with a lot of questions here. Was he part of it? I don't. Well, it seemed like it, right? But that's just me. And I know he also said somebody warned me of the risk. Well, who? Who warned you of the risks? I mean, and by the way, who warned you, and why did you tell anyone else? This whole thing leaves me with a lot of really interesting questions that would probably be pretty uncomfortable for Mo Brooks to answer. I'm just saying, Mo Brooks, more problems. Oh man, that should have been the sidebar. Anyway, okay. But here's the thing. If it was, again, peaceful, if they were just tourists that were coming in and, oh no, you weren't expecting any kind of trouble, well, then you wouldn't have had to wear body armor, but you were expecting trouble. And so, but even so, if you're expecting a little bit of trouble, well, what made you believe that that little bit of trouble, that risk, was enough to wear freaking body armor? And by the way, you just admitted that you had information that completely destroys the narrative coming from Republicans when it comes to January 6th anyway. And so I think that somebody really needs to ask Mo Brooks some questions about what he knew, when he knew it, who told him, and what kind of risks he was going to expect. So now Brooks did go on to say this, that the committee's intent, the January 6th committee, was not to find the truth, but to create political propaganda that may be used in the elections in 2022 and perhaps 2024. Oh, you know, can I go back to, for a second here? Wearing body armor to a well, I would assume to be a friendly crowd you're speaking at, right? Isn't that kind of a beta thing to do? They talk tough, right? But then when the going gets tough, or whatever, they'll go and they'll hide in their office and wear body armor. Really, really weird. This is super strange. But again, the commission, now, look, is there an element of this commission that's political? Of course. Yeah. Everything is political these days. But at the same time, again, important questions need to be asked. Who in power knew this was going to happen? How much of it was planned? In fact, we're starting to get more evidence that, I mean, we've got a lot of evidence already that this was planned, but people in power, the people who were doing that had brought this together, that had planned this out, the rally itself, well, we know that they were expecting trouble. In fact, a lot of people have been fixating on this image. This is from Steve Bannon's podcast right before, I think it was a day or two before the actual January 6th rally and then the storming of the Capitol. So let me show you this. This is, it's the day before the Capitol attack. Sorry. Steve Bannon's podcast. All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. Just understand this. All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. It's going to be moving. It's going to be quick. So, all right. Yeah. Definitely planned. They knew what they were doing. A lot of them, yes, knew exactly what was going to happen. It was an insurrection attempt. Now, though, of course, the argument from Republicans isn't not that it's no longer, MAGA supporters, because they already tried blaming Antifa. They already tried blaming the FBI. That didn't take, because it was all nonsense. And so now they're like, oh, yeah, sure, it was Trump supporters. However, the argument now is, oh, wasn't that bad. No, the real problem about this whole thing is that it happened to be a witch hunt against Donald Trump. Yeah. Brooks and other Republicans have suggested, like Elise Stefanik, of course, that Democrats purposely had lax security and allowed this to happen, wanted this to happen, so that they could smear Donald Trump. That's ridiculous. Brooks suggested that the committee should investigate, quote, intelligence failures. Well, we know where the intelligence has failed there. That led to the Capitol riot. Newell told CNN's Anderson Cooper in an interview. It's funny. You want to talk about, intelligence failures, right? Failures of information and to act on information. Well, why did you not, assuming you didn't, why didn't you tell anybody? Any of your colleagues on the other side that happen to have been really, really surprised by this? I mean, don't you think, that if you knew that it was going to be possibly, dangerous, there are risks involved, that you would have told your colleagues? You'd be like, hey, look, I'm concerned that something is going to happen here at the Stop the Steal rally. And, maybe you should protect yourself. Maybe you should watch out, be careful, or be like me and encase yourself in a suit of armor and stay in a safe space. In a literal safe space. I mean, come on. But apparently, he decided to hold on to that little tip and not say anything. Why? Because, of course, we all... I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure we all have the same thought about this, that he knew what was going to happen, that he might have even been involved in planning what would happen, or just knew it was going to happen anyway and prepared himself so that he doesn't get hurt. And why? Because he agrees with Donald Trump, of course. He knew that he was out there inciting a violent mob. He knows his fans, and the Trump fans were violent insurrectionists, are violent, unstable people that could be easily pushed into doing what they did. That's what I think. And again, Trump made sure, we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to do all that to stop the steal. We're going to do all that while, of course, Bubble Boy, Armor Boy, decides to stay safe in his little tactical vest. Again, I can't prove any of it, but I don't think it's coincidence that he was expecting trouble, because he was definitely there to help stir it up. So, hey, if you're investigating January 6th, you might want to start with what Brooks might know. We'll see. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.